Thanks so much for joining this on-demand session today as we talk about the Coaching Professional Apprenticeship. Obviously, as this is a pre-recorded session, we don't have a live Q&A, but what we have opted to do at the end of this deck is answer some of the most frequently asked questions. So if you want to skip ahead, feel free to do so. And of course, if there's anything we don't answer here, we're really happy to take any other questions that you might have offline. Can we pop to the next slide? So here's what we're going to cover today. My name's Abby. I'm the marketing director here at Babington, and I'm joined by Simeon, who is going to take us through a deep dive of the Coaching Professional Apprenticeship. Before we do that, I'm going to spend a couple of minutes just setting the scene. For those of you that aren't familiar with us, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Babington. We're then going to take a look at the programme. We'll cover off some of the FAQs, and we'll also talk about next steps. So without further ado, let's dive in. So I think it's really important as we think about coaching and leadership skills to underline the context. Clearly, we've experienced a lot of change in both our personal and our professional lives in the last few years, and that's been accelerated, as we know, by the pandemic. A lot of that change is being driven by operating, living, working in an increasingly digital environment, and clearly that's changed the nature of work. It's changed how we work, where we work, how businesses operate, and actually how we as consumers expect to interact with products and services too. So when we think about what it takes to be successful in this kind of changeable operating environment, it's really interesting that the dialogue around skills continues to gain momentum. Being successful in today's environment isn't just about having access to things like the latest technology. It's also about having the right skills, attitudes, and behaviours to thrive. And those skills are not just about having the right attitude to implement and utilise new technology. It's also around having the skills like adaptability, resilience, leadership, and those things that we might previously have heard referred to as soft skills that we like to call power skills that really make all the difference. Leadership and coaching are an area that we have seen a huge amount of interest in, particularly in recent months and years. And it's really interesting that as recently as last month, the LinkedIn Learning annual report that comes out named leadership as the third most in-demand skill as we think about what people need to be successful in the future. So there's an imperative for businesses around thinking about how to empower and build the next generation of leaders and the influence that leaders have on shaping culture and helping us to set up for innovation, resilience, and all of those things that we need to thrive. There's also an imperative for individuals to think about building their own skills. And clearly, we're going to talk a bit more about coaching today, but it's an area that we've seen a lot more interest in recent times. If we needed to underline the importance of those skills, there are some stats on the right that I think are really interesting. There's a lot of information out there about the value of coaching and leadership, but these stats kind of really bring it to life. We know that over half of companies that are classified as high performing have strong coaching cultures. There is a really, really intimate relationship between coaching culture and employee engagement. And we see that bear out in an increased employee engagement in companies with strong coaching cultures. And actually, as we think about how that translates, we also see markedly higher performance and indeed profitability in companies that have got those aspects right. So it's a really, really pertinent and really, really valuable thing that we're talking about here today. And we're going to get under the hood of that in just a minute. If we can go to the next slide. Let me just tell you, for those that aren't familiar, a little bit about Babington. We are in the business of skills. We are a learning business, and we help organisations and individuals to build the skills that they need to be successful, both now and in the future. We're fortunate, we talk about change, we're fortunate to have been doing what we do for nearly 50 years. So we ourselves have really walked the walk in terms of reinvention and agility, which I think is really important. And we are proudly an Ofsted Grade 2 provider. So the primary vehicle that we use as we think about upskilling and reskilling is apprenticeships, funded learning, and we're going to get under the hood of that in just a moment. Outside of coaching and leadership, we also support organisations and individuals across other key skills areas like digital and data, accountancy, finance, and indeed the full suite of people professions, so HR and learning and development too. We currently support over 4,000 learners on programme, and we work with clients from SME all the way up to enterprise in both the public and the private sector. So without further ado, let me hand over to Simeon, who's our specialist trainer in coaching, and we're going to find out a little bit more about the Coaching Professional Apprenticeship. Simeon.
Excellent. Thank you, Abby. Brilliant. So we have a little bit of history about Babington. Now we're going to have a look at a bit more of the Coaching Professional Programme itself. I'm very blessed to be able to deliver this programme. I am the specialist trainer for this one. So any learner who comes on this programme, I'll be looking after them in terms of their virtual classrooms, and we'll have a look at what that means a little bit later on. But the purpose of today essentially is to give you an understanding of the programme itself, outline what coaching is, what it isn't. We're going to look at the apprenticeship itself, off the job hours, your roles and responsibilities for any managers who are listening in on the call as well. And we're going to have a look at endpoint assessment. What's the end goal that we're going to be looking to achieve? So firstly, let's start off with the clear definition of what Babington is delivering with coaching. We're going to look at what coaching is and what it isn't. Coaching now is a lovely, sexy word that's been brought into the world of work nowadays. But what we want to give you the opportunity to do is understand how to coach purely, a pure coaching context. Now, essentially, by definition, coaching helps people to achieve their goals. And it helps, on the other hand, to help people become more high performing. And we essentially do that through questioning, and the different questioning techniques that we'll use. We'll keep them nice and open, avoiding the leading questions and close questions as well. And the quote that I wanted to really share with you comes from Sir John Whitmore, who is the kind of founder and guru of all things coaching in the world of work. And he defines it as coaching is unlocking people's potential to maximize performance. It's helping them rather than teaching them. And that really succinctly suggests what you're going to be learning throughout this program. I really wanted to give clear direction as well into what we mean by directive coaching and non-directive coaching. Now, on the left-hand side, when we see the directive side, that's essentially fantastic management. Whenever somebody comes to us with an issue and we give them the answer and say, okay, this is what you need to do, go ahead and make it happen. That essentially is what we call directive style of coaching. What you will learn on this program is on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, which is what we call non-directive style of coaching, which in its purest form is understanding when somebody comes to you with an issue, how do you help them through the right questions come up with the answer for themselves? And the real benefit of that is number one, it increases their own awareness, and secondly, it increases their own responsibility, which then leads to high performing teams. And when you come on the program, we'll get into understand the theory behind that, the science behind that, and all the good stuff that's included to make that happen practically. So that's what that's what you'll learn in this program, is learning how to take your management hat off and put your coaching one on in a non-directive style of coaching. So now what we're going to look at is the what coaching isn't. And again, a lot of the managers that will come on the program, you will be exposed to all three of these, but you'll learn that what we want you to do, or what you'll learn how to do, is the non-directive style. So first and foremost, we have the mentoring, which essentially is, again, good management. When somebody comes to you with an issue, based on your previous experience, what did you do to sort this particular issue? You tell them, they go away and make it happen. Again, that's not the coaching that you'll learn on this program. The training aspect is when it comes to skills, and you're either enhancing the skills somebody already has or imparting new skills into somebody's life as well, which again, coaching is not that part too. Whereas counselling has very similar traits to coaching in the sense that you need good active listening skills, good questioning skills, but the focus of the direction of the conversation is where they differ. Because counselling is, where am I at today? And how has my past affected me right now? So the main focus is based on the past, what's going on today. Whereas coaching is, where am I today? Where would I like to be? And how do I bridge that gap between the two? And that's the main things that they're going to be learning. So just from that clear description, just want to be clear on, that's the program that you're going to be learning about, is that non-directive style of coaching, not mentoring, training, or counselling. So that's the method. And this is the tool that we're going to use to be able to make that happen. And we're going to introduce you to something called Bud. And Bud is the online learning platform that learners will be able to use all throughout, from start to finish, to be able to complete the program. And essentially, when a learner decides to join on board, they'll go through what they call the sign-up process, and they'll go through what they call a skill scan. And a skill scan is looking at all the criteria that you need to become a good coach, and you'll have a starting point of saying, okay, where am I right now in a coaching context with all of these skills? And I'll give you an example. Let's say time management. You might be fantastic at time management within your workplace. You might be fantastic at time management in your personal life, but using it within a coaching context will be slightly different. So what we say is, you rank yourself between 1 and 10, 1 being I've got no experience whatsoever in a coaching context, and 10 being I can do it right now. If I was to sit the exam, I'd pass. So what we say is, between 1 and 3 is a good starting point, and then you'll progress through the program as well. So that's the sign-up processes around the skill scan. Then you'll do an initial and diagnostic assessment as well, just to understand where you're at for maths and English point of view. And then as we work through the program, you'll start to understand a little bit about the virtual classrooms. That's what you'll come on with me. You'll have lots of e-learning content to take in, lots of reflecting writing to go through as well, just so it sinks in. And the really good thing about Bud is how interactive it is. So you can use it on tablets and smartphones as well, just so that if you have time that you want to use Bud away from the office or away from your desk, you can do. And as time goes on and you're gathering that knowledge, you're gathering the evidence as well, you can all record it in one place. And as time goes on and you successfully complete the program, then you get your certification, and then you can carry on building your careers with that fantastic coaching skill. And the next part of that is the actual stages of what you'll go through throughout the program as well. So I won't go into too much detail about all the aspects of the theories and the models and everything else like that, but the main thing is that you'll learn how to coach from a pure point of view. And we'll walk you through different tools, different techniques, how to coach effectively, what that means for you. You're going to use it for yourself as well as others, and you'll be able to put it into practice. We'll cover emotional intelligence, a bit of neuroscience, all of these wonderful subjects. But the main thing from a skills coach and specialist trainer point of view, and that's our job, is to help you bring it to life in the world of work. How do you bring this to life within your teams? And once you've finished all of these aspects of the program that lasts up to 15 months, then you'll go into 3 months of endpoint assessment. And we'll look at what that looks like in a moment. One of the benefits of joining this program is your affiliation with the EMCC, which is the European Mentoring Coaching Council. And essentially, when you do the program with Babington, you get a discount of the membership within your first year. And these are just some of the benefits that you can have within the program. So we'll recommend you books. I've got lots of books that I can recommend to you. I will always give you lots of good books to read if you are a reader. Even online material as well. I'll absolutely share those with you, but you can get access to lots of free stuff on the EMCC site. The good thing about this is that when you join the program, you can become a member from day one. You don't have to wait until the end of the program to become a member. You can become a learner member from day one. For those of you who want to progress in coaching even further, you can take the memberships up to new heights and new levels. So if you was to do that, just as a precaution, I would say record the coaching hours that you do within the program. You don't have to for this apprenticeship, but if you want to take your membership further and further, then I would record the coaching hours that you do within the program, because that's what you're going to need in order to become the next levels for the EMCC2. So that's a little bit about the program overall, but what are you going to be doing day to day? And first and foremost, you'll have a start of learning program with me. We'll get you introduced to coaching. We'll get you to start some of the basics. We'll even chuck you in at the deep end and get you into some coaching practice right from the off. So yeah, we'll enjoy that too. And I will walk you through all of those virtual classrooms. And it will be on Teams. There's no face-to-face sessions with this program. It's all purely online. So we'll do 9 virtual classrooms, 1 as a start and learning, and 8 practical learning experiences as well. Then you'll have self-directed learning that you'll do online. So all the activities on Bud that you'll do, the e-learning practices, the workplace development activities, all that kind of learning you will do online through Bud. And the good thing about it is it's very self-directed. You can access it at any time. It's completely up to you how you pace yourself through the program. The one that's highlighted there is what we call coach camps, and coach camps are a wonderful, unique coaching experience where we'll have small groups of coaches or learners being coached, doing the coaching and observing. And I will be on there as well to observe your coaching practice too. And I'll pick out your good parts, the parts that need improving upon, and I'll even write up on a form the feedback as well. And you can include it in your portfolios. And I'll explain what a portfolio is in a moment too. And that there is a unique to Babington experience. No other training provider, as far as I'm aware, delivers this particular part. This is an added extra to give you nice, good coaching practice in a safe environment. And the feedback has been brilliant. The other aspects of the program, what you'll be doing day to day, is that you'll have regular check-ins with your skills coach. So every 6 weeks, you'll have one with your skills coach, and that is guaranteed every time a learner comes on this course. At a minimum, you will have 6 weeks, a check-in every 6 weeks. And then every 12 weeks, and we'll make sure we give you plenty of notice for this one, is that you'll have a meeting with your skills coach, your line manager, as well as yourself, to all have a check-in to review the progress. And that will give your manager the opportunity to have an understanding of how you're getting on, ask any questions, and give some feedback as well. And then the next one will be 12 weeks. So every 12 weeks, you'll have that up until right until the end of the program. As time goes on, you will develop a coaching portfolio. And the best way I can describe it is it's like you're building a coaching CV. So all the experiences you have when you're doing your coaching sessions within work, the people that you'll be coaching, any models or theories that you'll experience as well, you'll put it all into a portfolio so that at the end of the program, you'll have a nice package worth of evidence to show that you can coach effectively. And number 6 at the bottom there is also linked with translating the learning from Bud into the workplace with workplace development activities. Essentially, it's whatever you learn online or in the virtual classrooms and putting it into practice in your day-to-day. So for endpoint assessment, this is what you're aiming for. This is the end result and the end goal that you will do. And this is how we measure the success of the program. So essentially, when you join the program, you'll get all the good knowledge and skills and behaviors, but this is where you'll be assessed on how successful you are with those. So the first one is your observation, and you will do 2 coaching sessions for an hour each. And thankfully, you get to pick those 2 coachees that you work with. So 2 coaching sessions for an hour each with 2 different coachees. And we will get you ready for that. I know that might sound daunting for some, but don't worry, we will absolutely get you prepared for that. And then afterwards, you will have a Q&A with an observer who will ask you some questions based on the 2 sessions. It won't be in front of anybody else. It will just be your coachee and the observer. It won't be in front of the rest of the class. Won't put you through that. But the next part is around your portfolio. And your portfolio is, as I say, your coaching evidence and your coaching CV. And over the year that you're going to be on the programme, building that evidence, we'll put it together, package it nicely. And then when you go to your interview, essentially you'll have a conversation about your portfolio. You'll have a copy in front of you. Your observer will have a copy in front of them, and you'll just have a few conversations around it. And then lastly, you'll go through a knowledge test, which is 40 multiple choice questions with 10 based on scenarios as well. And you'll have 90 minutes to complete that. And for those of you who have not completed an exam formally for a while, we will absolutely take you through exam techniques as well, just as an added extra to help you get ready for those. So you'll have really good comprehensive support all throughout to make sure that you're ready. Now, some of the questions that you may ask in this is around who the programme is going to be for. And essentially, it's anybody who works with people. If you are a manager, that's absolutely fine. Even if you're not, that's okay too, as long as you can find people that you can coach. And when it comes to the off-the-job hours, it's between 6 to 8 every single week. And how that is spread and how that is distributed is completely up to you. You can do it, a few hours all throughout the week. You can do it all in one day, in like a block day. That's absolutely fine. And the role of a line manager within this as well is going to be to help you to get that time and support for the program too. And the next start dates for the cohorts are the 23rd of April, 29th of May, and the 30th of July. And there will be the start of learning activities that you'll come on with me. So yeah,
that's been really useful. Thank you so much. I'm really conscious that we get a lot of questions about off the job. And I suppose one of the concerns sometimes that we have is about, am I going to be able to balance, my current job with the commitment to study? What would you say to that? Is there anything that we should say to anybody listening about how that works and how that's designed to add value?
So it is a big commitment. It is a big commitment. This course is a big one, but it's fantastic and very well worth it. The one thing I would say is that as you protect that time and keep that time, you'll start to get the most value from it. What I would also say is that thankfully, with the nature of this apprenticeship, it is very flexible in how you get those hours in. And if there are days where you can work flexibly, because it is all online, everything that you learn and do on this program, you can just do as and when that you can. I would just make sure that you have that set time that's disciplined to be able to do it, and you'll absolutely be fine and you'll really enjoy it and get lots of benefits out of it.
I guess the point to make here as well is that by design, an apprenticeship is kind of a blended thing, right? We're talking about blending study with practical on-the-job application. And therefore, when we talk about kind of off the job, sometimes the objection that we have, particularly from people that are busy or line managers thinking about their teams and how they're working, is, we can't afford to not have somebody on the job for that time. Actually, it's about seeing that as really adding value back in, because the whole point is that you're learning something and then you're quickly being given the opportunity to apply it, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you talked a little bit about the way that kind of plays out, and the fact that people obviously need to be able to kind of coach and have access to do that as part of their role already. But that's the way that we get practiced in this, and it's also the way that we start to deliver that value back into the business quite quickly.
Sure. And it's quite instant as well, which is one of the benefits too, is the fact that whatever you learn on board, you'll have the opportunity to practice straight away. You can bring it into your roles almost instantly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we talk about skills, and we also talk about building confidence as well. I think that's really important. And clearly, Simeon, you're there to kind of help support our learners and answer any questions that they might have, and provide that kind of expert view alongside. Can I ask a little bit more? So the role of line managers, we talked about kind of protecting time, etc. But is it worth just exploring a little bit the kind of the ask around some of those tripartite reviews, and also around ensuring that you're providing as a line manager access and opportunity for the learner to have exposure to those scenarios that we talked about?
Yeah, of course. So of those 12 weekly reviews, essentially what they'll do is they'll review everything that's gone on in that last 12 weeks with that learner. And thankfully on Bud, the line managers have a little bit of access to the progress that they're going through at the moment too. And they'll get prepped as well in terms of any questions that they may have beforehand. They can bring that to the session, but they'll also have an opportunity to fill in a little bit of a form, just that we have a nice structure to the session, to the session as well. As far as the opportunity to put it into practice is concerned, the learners really enjoy being able to go away, find learners or people that they can coach as well. Line managers can support in helping that too.
Yeah, and I suppose when we think about value, there's value there obviously for the learner, but I guess there's that ripple effect, right? And we hear this quite a lot when we've deployed apprenticeships successfully, and all of those conditions are there, that actually the value that's being offered by that apprentice is greater than just that one learner, right? Because they're actually able to then influence and support others too.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned around that ripple effect, it's one of the nice things about this program is that right from the off, they're starting to build a coaching culture within their own teams, and that in itself is gold. So yeah, really, really good.
And we talked a little bit about the power of that, but we've certainly seen it play out in high performing teams. And I guess not to underestimate the link between, you know, coaching, culture, and when we talk at an organizational level about developing, you know, cultures of learning or cultures of continuous improvement and all of that stuff, it's such a powerful tool, right? It's such a powerful and kind of transformative tool. And what would you say, I guess, last question, to anybody that's kind of considering the apprenticeship, that's sort of maybe on the fence, that's thinking about it, that's not sure, what would your advice be to them?
Yeah, of course, really good. So come with an open mind is the main one. Not only will this benefit you within your careers, but you're going to be using it for the skills for the rest of your life. And that to me is incredible. So I would come knowing that you're going to get a lot, both personally and professionally.
Brilliant. Yeah, really good. Let's pop on to the next slide then. So just before we wrap up, I guess it's worth underlining that if you need more information, you can head over to our website. Obviously, I know, Simeon, you didn't kind of go chapter and verse through all of the different topics covered in the programme, but if you do want to rewind this recording and have a little look at that, we've laid out across all of the months of the programme the topics that are getting covered. So do have a look at that. Individuals, clearly, if you're interested in this, speak to your line manager to get the ball rolling. And if we can help at all, feel free to reach out to the team. You can do that via the website, or you can pop us an email. And for any line managers or department leads watching this, equally, we're really happy to come and talk to you a little bit more. You can connect with us via the website, via email, via LinkedIn. If you are thinking about this for a number of people in your organisation, I'm sure we can find some time for Simeon to come and talk to you in a more kind of one-to-one capacity. We'd be really happy to do that, or indeed to kind of set up a further call. So as a reminder, next cohort dates, 23rd of April, 29th of May.
9th of May, that's right.
And then the 30th of July. So yes, fairly frequent. Hope to see you on a cohort soon. And thank you so much for your time today.